while Zimbabwe was awaiting to see if Emmerson Mnangagwa was going to come up with strategies to revive the Zimbabwean economy, while Zimbabweans were awaiting to see if the government of ZANU-PF was going to this time around take it seriously, the business of revival of the economy, revival of the citizens' life, we see that instead ZANU-PF remains majorly exposed, excessively exposed, after the Reserve Bank has revealed that they cannot account for many gold, a lot of gold blocks that they can't account for, which were supposed to be in the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe. This is the story we are going to be talking about. Welcome to Live with Chatufa, and we are looking at issues that are affecting our nation. We are looking, as we continue to speak, to declare over the word of God that is over the nation, of freedom of the Zimbabwean people. Mnangagwa government has been embarrassed, for they've shown that indeed these guys are serious thieves. They've stolen literally everything. The Reserve Bank is just an empty shell and nothing to show forth. And the new Reserve Bank governor has just been exposed before even they go any further. Mangunjika, as he's leaving that position, is also highly exposed, as he has to account for all the gold that was reported to have been submitted in the country. I would want us to look at the reactions of citizens of Zimbabwe to the realization that this is what has just happened to the government of Zimbabwe. Dr. Walter Mzembe says people are not satisfied with the gold declared yesterday. Serious allegations of make deals and under declarations are doing the rounds. So there is a lot of debate on what happened with our gold under the leadership of Dr. John Mangunjika, who before he has fully accounted has been moved to yet another very critical entity dealing with our national assets. Sovereign Wealth Fund. Today, henceforth, we should aspire to create local storage equivalent to colonial storage of our gold, or where in modern day trade our gold is ending up in Belarus, Dubai, Switzerland, China, and other Middle East markets. Why are we selling our family silverware and end up with nothing to show for it? Offshore Zimbabwean gold storage or deals are where our real gold is and should be accounted for today and hereafter for the return of national confidence and trust. As of now, it's severely undermined. So this is what Dr. Mzembe is talking about. What we have realized is that the reserves of gold in Zimbabwe, in the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe, just shocked the whole country. Nobody really expected that the country could have such little gold, considering that Zimbabwe is one giant producer of gold. It means the gold mafia is doing serious business. Mnangagwa is highly compromised when we look at accountability and the seriousness that they are taking things with. It's really shameful that a country like Zimbabwe could have such little gold. And just last year, there was a report that came of some submission of gold that was submitted to the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe to the tune of up to 35,000 tons. And it is very surprising that today, when the new governor is coming in, there's literally nothing to show for. Just imagine. And it is a very embarrassing situation that we have seen happening in the country. So many people were talking about this, and they were showing some other countries and even the gold reserves of other countries. For example, this was Fadzai Mahere, who was showing that this is the gold that is in Holland. Just imagine, this is another country, Holland. When you see countries prospering, it is because they have a backup of gold. And when you check, you would find that these guys, these countries, they don't produce gold. They actually buy gold. This is the vault that was opened at the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe. And only this is what is there. And this governor is telling us that the gold is actually in some of it is in offshore. And who would trust ZANU-PF if they would ever say that? So you see, this is the British gold, and this one is if not, this is Portuguese, inside Portuguese central bank. Just imagine what other countries are having in terms of gold reserves. And like I was saying, if you look at these countries, they don't produce gold. If they do, they produce at minimal levels. That cannot be even compared to Zimbabwe. But what is happening, most of this gold that you are seeing in these developed countries are gold that is being mined in Africa, but the leadership of Africa are corrupt. And these are the guys who are getting this gold, and they are selling it. And when they sell it, they don't bring the money back to the country. And it is very painful that the money does not benefit the nation. I was very excited when I saw somebody who posted something that I said I may want to share with you. Right, this is a picture of Mnangagwa holding a gold block here, and somebody says, did he get searched before leaving the building? Just imagine. This is what Zimbabweans are thinking of their president, that this guy is a gold magnet. So if he has been holding the gold, the little gold that was in RBZ, are we very sure that this gold is still there? Was he searched before he left the RBZ? So what this simply means is that the gold that is in Zimbabwe, even the one that they are talking about in the offshore, is not enough to sustain the economy. It's not enough to back up these new currencies that they've just introduced, which is just a sign that we are going nowhere. There is nothing. Remember what I said, family. I said this money that Mnangagwa is introducing this time around is going to be the greatest disaster. This one is it won't last days. This one is just going to be, the worst performer of all the money that we have ever seen in Zimbabwe. So this is the scenario. Can you imagine the level of theft that we are experiencing in Zimbabwe? You remember when the sanctions, or the new sanctions of United States were issued out, we talked about the issue of siphoning. And in their report, they said they are siphoning. ZANU-PF is siphoning the riches of Zimbabwe, which means it's at a massive scale. In a month, it's close to 250,000 US dollars of gold that is being exported out of Zimbabwe every month. And this gold is not benefiting the nation of Zimbabwe. It's not coming into the government coffers. It's going in the hands, in the pockets of these individuals, especially Mnangagwa and his gold mafia. And yet the country is suffering. You remember last time we were just talking about him addressing the whole world and asking for donations for food parcels to feed the nation, when the country is able to sell over 200,000 of US dollar worth of gold every month. And it is pathetic to see a leadership like this. What kind of leaders do we have really in Zimbabwe? And it's sad to see that this is the kind of scenario that we are facing. I'm telling you, theft has happened before, but this time around, it is at a massive scale. This time around, this Second Republic, I'm telling you, these are the bishops of theft. These are the bishops of corruption. I'm telling you. Let's hear what other people are saying here. Someone is saying, how much gold did we have during the Mugabe era, and what happened to the inherited reserves in 1980? Nobody can talk about those. Those are long gone. Long gone. Right? Kasukwere says, so effectively our votes are empty. The safe is huge, but it's literally empty. There is nothing. Yes. We have thieves, comrade. Perhaps a trial balance is needed to ascertain the ledger status of how much of the gold is encumbered since a particular period. African bank facilities, Trafigura fuel deals et al. What's the impact? Should we default our debt services on those facilities? Someone also is saying, are you not better off giving us figures? This is a ZANU-PF person. There's need for an auditable and transparent process in line with the disclosure requirements for the RBZ in terms of the law. It should go beyond just visiting the falls. So you see, this is what is happening. A lot of people really are so ashamed. People are so shocked. The nation is in shock to realize that these guys, they've been mining gold for all this time, and yet the Reserve Bank is totally nothing in it. Nothing as little as this, and this is all that they can show as a backup for a whole new currency that they want to introduce, which Varakasha are making noise about. Varakasha are making noise about this new currency, saying, yeah, why are you rushing to criticize? Just wait and see, you will see this currency. And we are telling them that we are used to this. This is not new. This is not the first time that a new currency is being introduced by ZANU-PF. So they must not tell us that there's going to be a miracle that is going to happen this time around. There's no miracle. Things will just go the ZANU-PF way. And the ZANU-PF way, as always, is failure. That's it. We can talk about other things. We can discuss all other issues. But one thing that we know and we understand about ZANU-PF is failure. Simple. And this is the danger in which the country still remains in, especially when we continue to have such kind of leaders at the helm of the country. We can never go anywhere. Do you think this money can survive with just some, a few, just few blocks of gold that we can count there? And the governor is saying there's a lot of other gold reserves somewhere, which they are just talking about. And we know that these guys are propagandists. It's just lies. And when you look at the metric tons of gold that are produced in a month, in a quarter, in half a year, on a yearly basis in Zimbabwe, from all the artisanal mines that we are seeing, the miners, the macrocosas that are in Zimbabwe, every day Zimbabwe is producing metric tons of gold. But when you look at the Reserve Bank at this stage having just as little as that, it shows that there is a massive looting of gold from the country, and yet there is nothing functioning. Hospitals don't work, roads don't are potholed, no water system working, electricity is down, everything, nothing is working when a country is able to produce such amounts of gold. All that gold is going to develop other countries. Right now, we continue to admire countries like Switzerland, we admire countries like France, we admire countries like Dubai. Yet all these countries are succeeding and they are prospering because of the gold that is coming from Zimbabwe. The problem is the people that have been bestowed with the wealth, they don't understand how to add value to their wealth. That is the problem. ZANU-PF are so dull to the point that they don't know how to add value to our gold or whatever resources that we have in the country. All they do is to sell the raw material. That's it. They sell the raw material. They have nothing, they have no plan. Instead, all this gold that we are producing, all the minerals that Zimbabwe has, could be turned into artifacts that could be sold at higher prices. You can sell gold, a gram of gold in Zimbabwe for a very cheap price. But when it goes out and then it goes to make a chain, you can't buy that gold chain. That is the problem. So once it's developed into artifacts that are now able to be sold on the market, you can't buy it. You can't buy a gold ring. And yet in Zimbabwe, people have gold in their pockets, but they don't know what to do with it. People have gold in their houses. Guys who don't have even education, who are just dull, who don't even have clothes, who are dirty, they have gold in their hands, yet they remain poor because ZANU-PF has failed to come up with the strategies of how to convert what we have into the value. All these materials, all these raw materials of Zimbabwe, they are supposed to have companies that are established right within Zimbabwe that will start processing all this. We are supposed to be making gold chains. We are supposed to be making all the artifacts that are made out of gold. We are supposed to be making gold watches and whatever it is that gold is making out there in the world and selling those. Instead, Zimbabwe must be exporting watches and rings and gold chains out to other countries instead of sending stones like what MNANGAGWA is doing. That's exactly what is happening with the lithium. Lithium is actually supposed to be used. We should be creating companies that are making laptops, companies that are making lithium batteries, companies that are, making all the products that lithium is used for. And then we can now be selling those things as products outside. And then we increase the value. Unfortunately, we don't have leaders. This is why, family, always we say we need Zimbabwe to be freed. Zimbabwe does not have leaders. We need freedom from these clueless leaders so that at least our country can begin to work. Our country can begin to produce something that can be taken back, plowed back into the nation, and the nation can start rising. Otherwise, there is totally nothing that will come out of all these reserves of minerals that we have. Our country needs prayer. Zimbabwe needs prayer. Zimbabwe needs God intervention to get rid of ZANU-PF. Because with ZANU-PF still on the throne, I am telling you, this country will continue to go down. We need to stand as intercessors and continue praying for this nation. Otherwise, there is no way that we are going. Tyrese Changa says, Mnangagwa has all the gold. These people are looting big time. Don't worry, they will bring it back. Yes, there is a time that we will follow them. They will follow them up. Chatuva Chete, so that big blue building and all those guards day and night kuchengeta to my bars, it go to shame, Mr. Mnangagwa. It's shameful, really. I'm telling you, it's shameful. My greatest worry is that by the time we get new leadership in the country, we will be beyond repair with the rate of thievery. No, Zimbabwe is too rich, my sister. Zimbabwe is very rich, Sister Isabel. I'm telling you, ZANU-PF has not stolen anything. They've not taken. Zimbabwe still have a lot of other minerals that have not been discovered, and a lot that is under there. God cannot be mocked by ZANU-PF. They can't finish. There's still a lot. There is still crude oil that is there in the Zambezi Valley, and somewhere there in Kamativi, in other areas. We still have crude oil that has not yet been. And we still have even gas in Zimbabwe, which has not yet started to be mined. ZANU-PF is trying to mine gas. They are failing. Those companies that they subcontracted, they are failing. It's just propaganda that they are very soon they are going to be starting, but they are failing. God is hiding quite a lot from ZANU-PF. You will see that beginning to manifest by the time that we have the proper leadership. And God is waiting for that proper leadership. Majete says, family, let us pray. They are ashamed. God hear our prayers. Indeed, God will continue to hear our prayers when we pray in faith and believe in his time. Joyce Masharira says, good evening, family. Chatupa Chete Chete. Thank you very much so much for joining me, family. We still have a lot. There are 3 more shows that are coming today. Today we are on a cruising extravaganza. we are cruising. So we have 3 more shows that are coming, and let us just be waiting. And thank you so much for joining me. I'm just giving you updates of what is happening in the nation. Now we are going to be meeting on the main channel, Chatufa Television Production, as we are going to be looking in the next story that we are going to be having on the show. Just stay tuned and remain seated where you are. Do not move. Very soon the train is moving. Thank you so much for joining me. You are blessed.